Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe. In our previous discussion, we discussed SR flip flops, the very basic of sequential circuits. We discussed that sequential circuits are actually used to make memory circuits, which you have already been introduced to in your O levels in the solid state devices. And sequential circuit were those in which the output actually is dependent on the previous state of the circuit. So this is where we left off. The SR flip-flop using NAND gate is in front of you. You can see that we cannot use 00 here because it would cause a problem of Q and Q complement being the same, which cannot be. The set and reset bit, if S is 0, Q is 0, if S is 1, Q is 1, and if S and R both were set to 1, 1, the memory state was there, means whatever the previous state of Q and Q complement is, it is going to continue. So today our topic is going to be the JK flip-flop. But before we introduce ourselves to JK flip-flop, we must understand a concept of a clock. A clock is actually a signal which is used to synchronize the activities of all the memory circuit. You can say clock is actually acts as a controller. When the clock is up, the clock signal can actually toggle between two states, low and high. And when the clock is high, if the clock is sending the high voltage signal, the circuit actually becomes functional. And when the clock is low, the circuit is not functional. So you can say that the clock signal is used to actually control the JK flip-flop. Now, after establishing this basic concept, let's go on to the JK flip-flop. This is the truth table of SR flip-flop. I'm going to make a lot of references to it uh, in my evaluation of JK flip-flop. So you must remember this truth table, and if you have it on your notes, keep it in front of you during the lecture. Let's explain the JK flip-flop. You can see that basically it's actually an SR flip-flop, but on the left we have added two more NAND gate, and the Q complement is being fed back into the J NAND gate, and the Q is being fed into the K NAND gate. The J and K are here is the J stands for the set and K stands for the clear. The name of the inventor was Jack St. Clair Kilby. That's why it's named JK flip-flop. You can see the clock circuit is again going as an input to the NAND gate, and as I've already told you, this circuit is only going to function if the clock is on high. Why actually we needed the JK flip-flop? Because there was an invalid state in the SR flip-flop. When we evaluated the RS flip-flop, we discovered that 1 1 was invalid state. And when we evaluate SR flip-flop, we discover that 0 0 is invalid state. Because if we feed 0 0 to the SR flip-flop, our Q and Q complement turned out to be the same, and Q complement should always be the opposite of Q. So to overcome this, we actually created the JK flip-flop. Actually, this is the flip-flop which is used in your memory circuits. SR flip-flop is not actually used alone. Now, let's consider the different scenarios of JK flip-flop and let's try to learn to evaluate it. So here's your JK flip-flop. So one thing to remember, if you have your clock set to 0, remember that the previous state of your circuit is going to continue. If your clock is 0 and whatever your previous state is, it is going to remain the same. The previous inputs of Q and Q complement are going to continue. Then we can have a case where clock can be 1 and J is 1 and K is 0. In all my cases that I'm going to analyze here, the clock is always going to remain 1. No use evaluating the clock 0. It is just the previous state actually continuing. So my set bit is 1 and my clear bit is 0. So here is my JK flip-flop again. Let's put the inputs. Now I know that from the NAND rule, if I have input as 0, one of the input as 0, the output is always going to be 1. 0.0 was 1. In the NAND gate, 0.1 was 1 and 1.0 was also the 1. So using that NAND principle, I can always guess what is the output is going to be after I evaluate my first NAND gate of JK flip-flop. It's going to be 1. So I'm going to start from the 0. For the J side, I can have the J and clock 1, NAND 1, which is going to be 0 again. Now again, starting from the 0 side, if I have 0 being fed into an AND gate, I will always have 1 as my output. And that one can go back into this NAND gate, which is actually just behind the Q complement. And that one, NAND 1 is going to be the 0. So in the first case scenario, you can see that if clock is 1, J is 1, and K is 0, then your Q is going to be 1 and Q complement is going to be 0. Moving on, the next case is my clock is 1, J is 0, and K is 1. Using the same principle, I will just plot the values on my circuit diagram, and again I will start evaluating it from the 0. And this 0 into the NAND gate will give me 1. And clock and K, 1 and 1 is going to give me 0. Then again this 0 would give us 1 at the Q complement, and this one being fed into the one just behind the Q bit is going to be 1 and 1, which is going to be the 0. Remember the NAND rule, and whenever you have situation like this, you don't know the previous state of the circuit and you have to start evaluating the circuit uh, from using only the inputs. Always start with the 0 bit, because wherever the 0 is, it is going to give 1 as an output. Then the reason of developing JK flip-flop and the most interesting case, having J as 1 and K as 1. This was the reason we actually couldn't use the SR flip-flop, and now we are having the same inputs. So let's plot all those on your circuit diagram carefully. And for the purpose of the evaluation of this case scenario, I'm going to assume that I also already have the values of